Yo, Fitzy here, aka Hegassen, and thank you for clicking on my anime review of One Piece anime episode 934. It's got a weird title, this episode. It's called A Big Turnover, the Three Swords Style Overcomes Danger, which is just like a long, around the houses way of basically saying, spoilers, Zoro beats Kamazo this episode, which is essentially what the title is saying. It should have been called Zoro Goes Super Saiyan. The episode, officially starts at the 4 minutes and 4 seconds mark, and you can see straight away from the first few shots that once again, we are in for a very special episode. The animation, again, this episode is once again looking very good, and they are doing a lot of stylistic choices, a lot of slightly different artistic styles this episode. I loved the opening, where it was kind of like an old samurai movie, where you had Zoro and Kamazo. They were getting ready for their duel. You could feel the tension and it looked really nice. It looked like you were watching one of those old movies. And I liked later on in the episode where Kamazo actually gets the stab on Zoro and it all goes black and white apart from the blood, really highlighting the wound, and you can really feel Zoro's pain as well in those scenes. So some really good stuff. It was hit and miss. We'll talk a little bit later on about Zoro's Purgatory Onigiri, but for now let's concentrate on the first half of this fight. And I say half this fight because unfortunately the fight is split over the beginning of the episode and the end of the episode, and then in the middle of the episode we go elsewhere within Wano, which is a little bit disappointing and does break up this episode a little bit. I was hoping to get most of the episode as one big full fight, but the first half of this fight is really awesome. I love it because it is like a classic sword fight. Well, I say sword fight, sword versus scythe, but we get some good sword on scythe action, even though at times his swords did look a little bit like lightsabers.
Just as Count Dooku predicted.
And we actually see Zoro going in there, and it's not just like slicing and air slashes and then mountains getting cut up and energy blasts going off. We get a little bit more of that in the second half. In the first half, it is sword on scythe action. There was some good crisp animation, some good fluid movements, and it was really enjoyable. We do cut away, and we cut away to Luffy at Udon Prison, and he is fighting Bear Man. Filler Bear Man, because I don't remember this guy in the manga. It is an added scene from the looks of it, but it's not a bad added scene. At first I was like, oh no, what is this? What is this shiny Ursaring looking guy? He was literally just a bear with a human face inside his mouth. It was a pretty fun design. A lot of the gifters are crazy designs. I actually kind of like this one. It's like cute and scary and weird and surreal, but fun all at the same time. And it was padding, but it was good padding because it continued to build on Luffy's training and Luffy trying to advance his haki. They could really be milking this Luffy sumo stuff, but they're not. They're taking their time. They're just adding in a few little scenes here and there, and so far it isn't too overwhelming. We had the Batman stuff, now we have the Bearman stuff, and so far I'm still on board with it because it is progressing Luffy's training. We then cut over to other characters all across Wano. We find out a lot more about how the information of the Alliance, that little piece of paper that Kinemon was handing out, that has been leaked, and Orochi now knows what the Alliance is doing. And we go over to the Alliance, and there is tension building in the Alliance because Law and Shinobu, they are having a confrontation. They're having a confrontation because Law's crew has been captured. I don't want to get too much into this because I covered a lot of this stuff when I did my manga review, which I will add here. They didn't really add anything extra to it, so I haven't really got much extra to say regarding this scene. I will actually say though that they did add Tonyasu standing outside. That was like the only touch, and quite a nice touch because in the manga he just kind of walked in, so it was good to see him outside listening in and then picking up the piece of paper and stuff. Also, I think they did fix Tonyasu's size because he's a lot shorter in this episode. When we previously saw Tonyasu, I was like, was he always that tall? Seeing him stand next to Zoro and being about the same height, if not bigger. And this episode, he's a lot shorter. So I think that was just an anime error. Or was it? Fairy time? No, it was just an anime error. What I did love though is how the anime handled the reveal that Sanji has been beaten up after seeing Nami naked in the bathhouse. Wow. That was really fun. The way they did it in the anime, just showing his eye and then for the full reveal was very fun. And I do love this continual gag that Nami is often portrayed as the weakest Straw Hat, but that when it comes to the Straw Hats themselves, Nami is somehow always the strongest and seems to inflict the most damage on some of the stronger characters like Sanji and Luffy. I know it's a gag, but it is very, very fun gag. So let's get back to the fight, and I apologise if my lighting has been a little bit inconsistent in this video. The sun is going in and out of the clouds outside, and I don't really have the means to control the lighting as well as other YouTubers, so I apologise for that. But it's kind of fitting because you know what else is inconsistent, and that is the fight animations in the One Piece anime. So it is time to talk about Zoro's Purgatory Onigiri. When we cut back to the fight, I was getting a little bit worried because I was looking down at the play bar, and we were running out of time quick, and that was the problem where this fight has been chopped into. Really would have liked if it was all condensed into one long fight. I think that would have been a little bit better and a little bit more impactful, but they did have to cut away to the boring stuff to keep you at the end. Just like YouTube videos, Zoro does his 2 swords, 1 scythe style Purgatory Onigiri, and the animation seems to turn into Dragon Ball Super. It was very Dragon Ball. It was extremely Naruto Shippuden as well. I was getting big Naruto Shippuden vibes. It looked like you could just take this scene and just pop it into the 4th Ninja War in Naruto Shippuden and nobody would notice. I think it's because Zoro, once again, he haki cloaked up, so he had that kind of Super Saiyan chakra cloak style glow around him, and it was purple, kind of like Sasuke's Susanoo. And then he comes flying across the floor, and then he slashes all of the rocks and they turn into big cubes, which gave me big Kamui Dimension vibes. And then he goes in and there's a big bright clash full of like flashing lights and explosions, and it was very, very Naruto. It didn't really feel very One Piece, but it was an epic spectacle. It was beautiful. It was great animation. It was an instant rewind moment, and I was watching it again. I think a lot of Zoro fans got very wet watching this, and I think Kumurasaki did as well. But I feel like this kind of over-the-top animation style for the fight worked better here than it did with Luffy versus Kaido, because in Luffy versus Kaido it was very like bright, it was very flashy, it was a little bit hard to see. What I liked here with the Zoro versus Kamazo fight was at the beginning we had the more kind of traditional, you know, melee weapons clashing, actual fight, and then at the end it went a little bit crazy and you had that epic spectacle moment for like the big final finishing moves. And I actually prefer that. Keep the flashy to the big final moves. So if you take the stuff from the last episode and you smash the 2 halves of this episode together, I think this is actually one of my favourite Zoro fights, at least visually. Definitely good if you make One Piece AMVs. Overall, a pretty solid episode. As I said a few times, I didn't quite like the fact that the fight was split into 2 different halves. There were also quite a lot of flashbacks throughout this episode, which I'm not a big fan of. Probably also why I was getting Naruto vibes. So overall, this episode, gold tier. Hey, so thanks for watching. What did you think? Let me know about it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed my video, maybe give it a like, and if you really liked it, why not subscribe? You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Twitch. Oh, and here's a related video you might enjoy, and something more fresh. I've been Hegassen, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!